Hello and welcome to English Story TV, the YouTube channel and podcast that is designed to help you improve your English. I'm your host Emily, and today's video is about the Chernobyl disaster, one of the most catastrophic nuclear accidents in history. Let's explore what happened, why it happened, and its significant impacts not only on the environment, but also on political and social structures. On April 26, 1986, a disastrous event occurred at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in the Soviet Union. It was the middle of the night, and the world was about to witness the worst ever nuclear accident. Reactor number 4 at the power plant exploded, releasing massive amounts of radioactive materials into the atmosphere. The events leading up to the explosion were dramatic. Workers at the plant were conducting a safety test on the reactor. Unfortunately, they were not aware of a fatal flaw in the reactor's design. This flaw made it extremely unstable when operated at low power. Among these workers were key figures such as Leonid Toptonov, a senior control engineer, Alexander Akimov, the shift foreman, and Anatoly Dyatlov, the deputy chief engineer. Dyatlov was especially significant because he was in charge that night, and his decisions played a crucial role in the unfolding disaster. As we delve deeper into what happened that night, it's important to understand that the test being conducted was meant to see how the reactor would perform under reduced power conditions. However, due to the reactor's design flaws and the pressure to complete the test, critical safety procedures were bypassed. Dyatlov, despite being a skilled engineer, pushed his team to proceed with the test, even though conditions were not ideal. This decision was influenced by the intense pressure within the Soviet system to demonstrate technological prowess and superiority. The explosion at Reactor 4 was devastating. It blew the heavy steel and concrete lid off the reactor, allowing vast quantities of radioactive materials to escape into the atmosphere. This radioactive cloud spread over much of Europe, contaminating large areas and making them uninhabitable. The immediate aftermath was just as chaotic. Emergency crews rushed to the scene, completely unaware of the danger they were walking into. The radiation levels were so high that many of the first responders suffered severe radiation poisoning and later died. The long-term effects of the Chernobyl disaster were widespread. Over 135,000 people were evacuated from the area, creating a ghost town that remains uninhabitable to this day. The environmental impact was severe, with large areas of land and forest still contaminated by radiation. But the disaster didn't just have environmental and health impacts. It also had profound political consequences. The Soviet government's initial attempt to hide the scale of the disaster from the world severely damaged its credibility. This event is often seen as a key moment in the decline of the Soviet Union. The disaster highlighted the inefficiencies and dangers of the Soviet system, contributing to its eventual collapse. Let's talk about the people involved. Anatoly Dyatlov, often portrayed as a villain in this story, was actually a victim of the very system he helped uphold. He died in 1995, having lived through the disaster and its aftermath. Many others, like Leonid Toptonov and Alexander Akimov, also lost their lives due to radiation exposure. Their stories remind us of the human cost of technological failures and the importance of safety over shortcuts. The Chernobyl disaster also led to significant changes in nuclear safety standards worldwide. It prompted a re-evaluation of nuclear power policies and the implementation of more rigorous safety measures to ensure that such a disaster would never happen again. Today, Chernobyl stands as a stark reminder of the potential dangers of nuclear power if not managed correctly. It also serves as a symbol of human error and technological failure, teaching us valuable lessons about the importance of safety and transparency. The explosion released large quantities of radioactive isotopes into the atmosphere. Among them was iodine, 131, which has a relatively short half-life but poses a significant threat to human health through contamination of food and water supplies. Another major isotope released was cesium-137, which has a longer half-life and can remain in the environment for decades, posing long-term environmental hazards. The immediate area around Chernobyl, known as the Exclusion zone, covers about 2,600 square kilometers and is still largely uninhabited by humans. However, it has become a kind of accidental wildlife sanctuary. Surprisingly, animals and plants have thrived in the absence of human interference, and biologists are studying the zone to understand the effects of radiation on wildlife. For example, populations of wolves, wild boars, and other animals have been found to be higher than in uncontaminated areas, providing a unique opportunity to study ecological recovery after nuclear disaster. One of the most challenging aspects of the Chernobyl disaster was the human impact. Thousands of people were directly exposed to high levels of radiation, leading to acute radiation sickness. Over time, there have been increased rates of thyroid cancers and other health issues attributed to radiation exposure. The psychological impact was also profound, with many survivors experiencing long-term trauma and stress disorders. Entire communities were disrupted, families were displaced, and a way of life was permanently altered. The global response to Chernobyl was significant. Countries around the world reconsidered their nuclear policies. Sweden, which detected the radiation from Chernobyl before the Soviet Union officially acknowledged the accident, has since invested heavily in nuclear safety. Similarly, the disaster has influenced nuclear power technology, with improvements in reactor design, emergency response strategies, and international nuclear safety standards. Internationally, Chernobyl also prompted the establishment of the International Nuclear and Radiological Event Scale, INS, which helps communicate the severity of nuclear incidents to the public. This scale was designed to avoid confusion and provide clear, understandable information in the event of future nuclear accidents. The human stories of Chernobyl are particularly moving. They remind us of the resilience and bravery of the people who faced the disaster and its aftermath. Firefighters, engineers, military personnel, and volunteers who worked to contain the disaster and mitigate its effects often did so at great personal risk. The term liquidator was coined to describe the nearly 600,000 Soviet citizens who took part in the cleanup efforts. These individuals worked in extremely hazardous conditions to decontaminate affected areas, construct a sarcophagus around Reactor 4, and ensure the safety of surrounding regions. The legacy of Chernobyl continues to influence popular culture and media. It has been the subject of numerous films, documentaries, and a highly acclaimed television series that dramatized the events surrounding the disaster. These portrayals have helped to keep the story of Chernobyl alive, ensuring that the lessons learned are not forgotten. For those who visit Chernobyl today, it serves as a somber reminder of the past and a cautionary tale about the potential dangers of nuclear technology when not rigorously managed. Tourism in the exclusion zone has been allowed under strict guidelines, providing a first-hand look at the scale of the disaster and the power of nature's recovery. The disaster also serves as an important case study for those studying environmental science, engineering, and policy, demonstrating the interconnectedness of human activities and environmental systems. The Chernobyl disaster highlights the need for sustainable and safe energy practices and the importance of rigorous safety protocols in all high-risk industries. As we reflect on the impact of the Chernobyl disaster, it's crucial to remember the importance of accountability and transparency in all sectors, particularly in industries that carry risks of widespread environmental harm. The lessons learned from Chernobyl are not just about nuclear safety, they are about how societies value human life, the environment, and the future. Chernobyl is a powerful reminder of what can go wrong when the risks associated with powerful technology are not taken seriously. It teaches us about the importance of safety measures, the need for emergency preparedness, and the responsibilities of scientists, engineers, and government officials to protect the public and the environment. If you are interested in learning more about Chernobyl, there are many documentaries and books that explore the event in detail. Learning about such historical events is not only educational, but also a good way to improve your English, as you get to know technical Trumpian terms and more advanced language structures. I hope this video has been informative and has helped you understand more about the Chernobyl disaster and its wide-reaching effects. If you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment down below. See you next time.